Okay, so this video is going to be for a 75 911S, or I'm sure 75 body 911 Porsche. It's pretty much the same thing earlier year. So I'm going to explain what I went through in order to get the A-arms off, adjusting the torsion bars back to get your proper ride height. My car is obviously jacked up right now, so that way I can go under the car and show you about the adjustments for the ride height. So let's talk about what I have done, because I've done it already, but I'm gonna walk you through the steps of what I did do, because there's absolutely nothing on the internet that talks specifically about a 911, but a 75 earlier year, adjusting the A-arms and stuff like that. So, adjusting the torsion bars. So, in getting into this, you're taking off the 3 bolts here, or loosening them anyway. And then you've got obviously your bolt that's going to be right at the base of your strut. And then there's another bolt right underneath there, right there in the center. You're going to take that one loose. Once all those are loose, then you can take off your A-arm. So you're going to put your fork right between the strut and the base of the strut. And the top of the A-arm, and then you're going to separate your ball joint there. Now, in order to get that off, you're going to need a ball joint socket. That ball joint socket averages about $100 and some on eBay. I got it from another source. There was if you Google it, there's a source that comes up that has it for sale. I think it was $79 or something like that. So save 20 bucks in getting it. It's huge. Matter of fact, I'll show you what it looks like. This is it. So you want to get this socket. When you put this socket on, if you just put it like on regular, because each one of these little sections I think are a different size. So you literally have to like try each way as you spin it, and then it'll slide on nice and snug. And for those of you guys that have the earlier years that may not have done this for a while, you might want to use something pretty significant to throw that socket around, because it's pretty heavy. I used one of the guns that you would use for sockets to come off the lug nuts. And that's how I was able to knock that off, instead of just using something that was like an extension and putting brute pressure on it. That gun worked perfectly. Let me pull it out, show you what I'm talking about. I use this guy right here. So that nose is a 1/2-inch drive. And as you know, this one hooks up to a battery charger. So real easy to use, which is the extension right there. And it puts a lot of torque on that in order to crack that thing loose, because mine, I don't think probably had ever come off. So, it was quite a bit. So that ramps up torque on that socket pretty evenly. And that's what that looks like. So back to the game. So I replaced everything under here. The tie rod ends, which is the end of the power steering rod. You got your ball joints right there to the right, and then of course the A-arm itself, and that's about does it. Now the spot that's missing right here are my rubbers that go in there for the sway bar. Sway bar is not yet installed. Didn't see how you put that back in just yet, but it is what it is. But more importantly, this is about the torsion bars. So let me jump on the other side, show you what's going on. Okay, on these torsion bars, what you want to do when you take off this cap, the cap is right here. Oops, sorry about that, guys. So the cap is right here. So you undo the screw 100%, get you a screwdriver, you pry it from this side, and typically knock it so that your screwdriver will go behind the tie rod right here. You tap it with a hammer, and this cap will pop right off. I'm not gonna undo mine because I've been doing this all day. Ain't gonna reset mine, because it makes a big difference when you change it minutely in order to get the settings that you want. Now, with that said, understand how this works. For whatever reason, sorry about the light, battery's going dead, so at least you saw where I'm talking about. When this cap pops off, typically the torsion bar is going to come out with it. Now when that torsion bar comes out, understand this, if you turn it counterclockwise towards the tire, if you turn it counterclockwise and you slide it in, the more you turn it counterclockwise, the higher the car will go when you let it down. That means you'll have a big wheel gap. If you want to lower the car, you turn it inward towards the other side of the car. One click, and you'll feel it. Like when you pull it out and you just literally press it against the other side, inside the A-arm, you'll feel when it starts to seat. So as soon as it seats and slides in, that's what you want to keep doing until you're going to end up getting the proper ride height. Now, when it slides in, you're going to have a variance with this little guy, with your screw. Like I said, mine just, because I rethreaded, I tapped it, so mine is just real easy to move. But this is what you're going to adjust as far as the ride height once you get in the zone of where you want your car to be. Okay? Now, if you noticed, this had a little gap in it at the bottom. I don't know if you want to rewind the tape. You can see there was an allotment of space right here. That allotment of space is what allowed this screw to change that tension in order to get the height perfectly the way you want. Now, I wouldn't recommend you changing this screw without the car being jacked up every single time to take the pressure off of this screw so you don't strip it out or something goes wrong, then now you can't adjust it and then you got to re-tap it and all that. Anyway, with that said, you want to take that out, rotate it to the right to adjust it to go low. And then you get in the zone to adjust this. Now I'm going to drop my car and show you where my car sits after this setting. All right, so I'm going to lower my car and you can see it'll basically come down to a cool height. That's the height I like. I actually had it a little bit lower before I messed with it. And it'll probably drop down even lower once I start driving it. And I can tell I kind of need some air in my tire too. But that's about 1 inch off the wheel. I am the same on the other side. See that? So that is how you adjust it. Now, if I wanted to go lower, remember fellas, I'm gonna turn the torsion bars to the right, and then I'm gonna create a whole nother section of adjustment, and then I'm gonna adjust that screw that I showed you, and it'll drop it down even lower. Now I learned if I put it in the next segment after this, my car literally would have been sitting on the wheel, and then I would literally have to turn the screw to now raise the car. So I'm cool with that ride height right there, to be honest with you. I'm 1 inch off. I got nice wheel travel. I think it sits good. I don't have to be greedy. I'm not trying to, create a low rider or something like that. So the thing is I think that's a cool ride height for me. At this stage now, I gotta have my car dialed in as far as the wheel alignment, and the rest of the guys will do the toe in and adjust the tie ins and stuff like that. So I'm good. But that is how you adjust your torsion bars. Again, it's just to give you some flashlights. I wasn't about to take it out and redo it. That was a little bit stressful. Didn't want to go through that again. Also, another headache that I ran into as well is that on the end of the tie rod ends, the screw was literally here, but I didn't realize it. And I thought the screw and the tie rod end was all in one, and I was screwing that thing off. So make sure you take your screw off, or excuse me, you undo the screw on this side, and then your tie rod will be freed up, and all you got to do is just screw it off and then screw the other one on in the exact same spot. So you'll know how to connect it to the what are we connected to? The spindle after that. I lucked out. I don't know why. The company sent me 3 tie rods opposed to 2, so I got an extra one. I'm kind of happy about that. But anyway, that's what you want to do. They did not come with the hole in the top of the screw right here, or the stud, in order to put that the little metal, I forget what you call it. I know you guys can probably write me a ticket about it, but I didn't have that. So they just have the locking nuts, but I still put a locking washer underneath this, and the protection of the locking nuts, so that shouldn't come off. So that was the difference between these and my older ones. But other than that, I hope that was a help out as far as adjusting your torsion bars, because I didn't see anything on the internet in regards to how to do those torsion bars to get your car back down to the ride height that you might like. And mine sits, I think, cool right now. And if I know now if I want to lower it, then I can do that. And I doubt seriously if I ever want to raise it. Don't know how to do the back, haven't done the back. not playing with the back. My back is cool right now, to be honest with you. But that's it, man. I hope this was a help for you guys that are trying to doing some things at home, save some money, and get to know your car. And I think it's really cool that when you have gone through busting your knuckles on your own ride, it makes it that much more enjoyable when you do. So take care, fellas. Any comments, concerns, whatever you guys got, drop it down at the bottom, and we'll go from there.